Rambam Sefer Tefillin, Mezuzah and Sefer, Chapter 5, Perek Hey, Aleph. Kesed Kes Vanessa Mezuzah, how is a Mezuzah written? Face Mishtei Parshish Ma'aval Yim Shamei Al Dat Vechabiri Achas, Vaisla Revach V'Amata Revach V'Mailak Mei Chatzis Seperin. The two portions of Shema and Vaya Shemar are written on one piece of parchment in a single column. Approximately half a fingernail space should be left above and below the writing. If you write it on 2 or 3 columns, it's also kosher. As long as it's not written like a tail shaped and a circle or tent shaped. And if it's written in any of these forms, it's not acceptable. If it was not written in order, one wrote the passage before Shema, not acceptable. So the areas if one writes a mezuzah on 2 different parchments, it's not acceptable. Sefer Torah which was worn out, a tefillin that was worn out, you do not make a mezuzah. So Sefer Torah in case of a mezuzah, a mezuzah should not be made from a Torah scroll or tefillin that have been worn, nor should a mezuzah be written on empty parchment from a Torah scroll, because one should not lower an article from a higher level of kedusha to a lesser one. It's a mitzvah to leave a space between the passage Shema and Shemaya as if it were a stula. If you made a psucha clearly between smucha lo minatera, because there's no smucha minatera. One has to be careful with the crowns. These are the following: you have to have a tag. The first passage, there are 7 letters which should each have 3 zayin upon it. Shin. And these are Shin Ayin Shel Shema V'Nun the Nafshecha 3 zayin Shel Mezuzah 3 Teisin Shel Teitefes. The Parsha Shni Yish Bashish Yish Al Kol Is Meher Shleish Zayin. Ve'edo Hein Gimel Shel Degoncha 3 zayin Shel Mezuzah 3 Teisin Shel Teitefes V'Tzadik Shel Oretz. When I also tag in Aisha Behan a guard of a hand, if you did not make it as they puzzle. If the mezuzah was not written on ruled parchment, the scribe was not exact with regards to the use of the full or short form of the words, or the sefer added even a singular, then it said the mezuzah is invalidated. The almini pasha shekaisvim al hamezuzah mechutz keneged arevach shen parsha the parsha shed shakai im zehevsa the fishahum mechutz. It's a common custom to write Hashem's name of Shindal Yud on the outside of the mezuzah, opposite the space, the empty space left between the 2 passages. There's no difficulty in this since the addition is made outside. If those who write names like of angels or other kedusha names, verses, or forms on the inside of the mezuzah are amongst those who do not have a portion of the world to come. Not only do these fools nullify the mitzvah, but furthermore they make from a great mitzvah, which reflects the unity of the name of the Eibishter and the service of him, a talisman on their own benefit. They, in their foolish conception, think that this will help them regarding the vanities of the world. Hey, the mitzvah to write al ha'aretz on the final line of a mezuzah, either at the beginning or in the middle of the line. And it has become universally accepted custom for Sefer Torah mezuzahs with 22 lines with al ha'aretz at the beginning of the final line. These are the letters that appear at the beginning of each line. Shema Hashem Advarim Levanecha L'Shach B'Chol B'Min V'Haya Mitzvah B'Chol Yeda Esav Hev Yishtachavis Meshamayim Vavata Mesamta Mesim Mesim Adela Vishirech Asher Al Haaretz. Shekirun Eislam Gilun Eisa Sefer Shita L'Tchilasa Ashetimka Shetimtzik Sheyiftach Akir L'Greyans. Yikabir Shishita Sefer. When a mezuzah is folded, it should be rolled from the end of the line to its beginning, so that when a reader rolls it open, they'll be able to read from the beginning of the line to the end. Racha Shegela Manicha B'Shefer Shel Kana Shel Eitz Shel Dor Mechara Isei Mezuzah Pesach B'Masber Yechef Mezuzah Pesach Machnes Ba'am Mezuzah. After rolling it, one should place it in a tube made of reed, wood, or any other substance and affix it to the doorpost of one's entrance to the nails. One should hollow out the doorpost and place the mezuzah within it. Before fixing it on the doorpost, the entrance, you should say, the Kipayim is the fixing mezuzah. One should not recite the blessing when writing it, because the fixing it fulfills the mezuzah. One suspends the mezuzah with a pole, it's not acceptable, because it has not been affixed. One position behind the door, he didn't do anything. One hollow out the doorpost and place the mezuzah within it horizontally as the rods and put through the rings. It's unacceptable. One place it deeper than the hand breadth, it's possible. Should one cut a reed in half and insert a mezuzah within it, afterwards connect this reed with other reeds, making a doorpost for the house from them. It's unacceptable because the fixing of the mezuzah precedes the making of the doorpost of the entrance. Test. Mezuzah placed on a private property should be checked twice in 7 years. Mezuzah placed on the Rabbim, public property, should be checked twice in every 50 years. Unless the letter have become torn or faded, since it's affixed within a wall, there is the possibility that it will decay. Everyone is obligated to mezuzah, even women and slaves. Minors should be educated to fix mezuzah to the doorpost of their homes. Person rents a dwelling in the diaspora, and a person who rents a room in a hotel in Eretz Yisrael are exempt from the obligation to fix a mezuzah of 30 days. One who rents a house in Eretz Yisrael is obligated to fix a mezuzah immediately. I'm asking when a person rents a dwelling to a friend, the tenant is obligated to obtain a mezuzah and affix it. It applies even if he would pay to have it affixed. As far as the mezuzah is an obligation incumbent upon a person dwelling in the house and not incumbent on the house. When a tenant leaves the dwelling, however, he should not take it with him unless the dwelling belongs to a goy. If it belongs to a goy, he could remove it when he leaves. Mezuzah and Sefer Chapter 6. Above. There are 10 requirements that must be met by a house for the person who dwells in it to be obligated to mezuzah. If one of these requirements is lacking, there's an obligation for mezuzah. These are so first of all, it should be 4x4 amas. Generally, mezuzahs. For it to have 2 doorposts. Mashkiv should have a lintel. Tikra should have a roof. Glasses should have doors. Entrance to be at least 10 tvachim high. You have bayis chayil, dwelling not to be consecrated. You also there's adam intended for a person to live there, but also there's covered intended for it to be used for a dignified dwelling. But also there's keva, it's there for permanent dwelling. Base bayis she'en le'arba amas al arba amas, but in the mezuzah dwelling which is less than 4x4, does not require mezuzah. אם יש בו כדי להרבה 4 אמס על 4 אמס, בשלב אף בישהו עוגל בעל 5 שלביס, אז צריך למה שמהיה רק יעשה על רחם ההל, יש בו להרבה 4 אמס על 4 אמס חי במזוזה. If its area is equal to 16 square cubits, although it's circular, and needless to say it's rectangular, since its area is equal to the above mentioned figure, requires a mezuzah. Gil achsadru walking sheish b'shlish ksolim v'tikraf b'sheish b'shnei asimim b'ruch revis b'tunim mezuzah. A sadra structure with 3 walls and a roof does not require mezuzah, even though it has 2 pillars on the 4th side. Pillars are intended as supports for the roof and not as doorposts. Avnei shaptzim lahamad atikrim asim olim shum mezuzah stasa. Had tikrish in the ksolim alei medes amud mekan mekan. A roof without walls or stands on pillars, even though it's shaped like a house, does not require mezuzah because it does not have doorposts. Pillars are intended to support the roof. A house which has doorposts on either side and an arch above the 2 doorposts instead of a lintel. If the doorposts are 10 tvachim high or more, requires some mezuzah. If they're not 10 tvachim high, the entrance does not require mezuzah. It does not have a lintel. Hey, bayish hin lo yitikra potem mezuzah. A house that does not have a roof does not require mezuzah. Hay miksasi mikra miksasi ena mikra. Hay miksasi mikra miksasi ena mikra. Yeroli shi mahayu mikra neged apes asher chay mezuzah mamed at losses harchach kimnes mezuzah. A portion of the building was covered by a roof and a portion was not. If the covered portion is near to the entrance, it requires a mezuzah. The door should be attached and afterwards the mezuzah fixed. Har habayis hadishkosis azaris what the nesis but the madrasha shein behem beis tira p'tadam l'fi shein b'kedesh. The gates of the temple mount, this chamber, this courtyard, the certainly entrances to a shul and houses of study which do not have apartments in which people live do not require mezuzah because they are kedesh. Basic necessary shakvarim sha'irchim dorim b'chayel mezuzah. A shul in a village in which guests reside require mezuzah. A shul in a metropolis, if it has an apartment, requires a mezuzah. All the gates of the temple complex do not have a mezuzah, with the exception of Shar Nikar and those further within it. The Shalishkas Parhedin, the Shalishkas Azay says a Bestira, the King Dada Beshivas Mea Frasha. Entrance of the chamber of Parhedin, because this chamber served as a dwelling for the Kohen Gadol during the 7 days when he was separated from his home, preparation for Yom Kippur service. Beis Hatem, Beis Habakar, Beis Eitzim, Beis Ha'itzaris, put in a mezuzah, storage house for a straw barn for cattle, a woodshed. Other storage rooms do not require mezuzah. Like it says, Beis Secha, your home is Beis Cham Yuchadacha, a house which is set aside for your use. Pratla indicates brand, excluding no above and the like. Afika Chanefes Habakar Shanash Rishon Bo, Muskashitis Bo, Chayom Mezuzah Shariyesh Lubal Yichud Dis Adam. Therefore, if a barn is also used by a woman as a dressing room, it requires a mezuzah, since it's used for dwelling by a human being. The guardhouse, the sadra, or porch, garden, or corral, do not require mezuzah since they're not a dwelling. If dwellings which require mezuzah are open up to these structures, they require mezuzah. So gates to courtyards, gates to alleys, gates to cities or towns, all require mezuzah, says houses which require mezuzah open up to them. Even when there are 10 structures leading one to each other, the innermost one require mezuzah, they all require mezuzah. Therefore, the Chamset gate, which opens up from a garden to a court, requires a mezuzah. Beis HaKisu, Beis HaMerchatz, Beis HaTfilah, Beis HaBursiki, Beis HaTunim, Mezuzah, the Fishein Asrin, they just cover the toilet, the bathhouse. Mikveh tannery do not require mezuzah since they do not constitute a dignified dwelling. Sukkos chag b'chag u'bayis shebesfina p'tulim mezuzah, the Fishein Asrin, there is cover. Sukkah on the holidays, sukkos and a house and a ship do not require mezuzah if they do not constitute a permanent dwelling. Tei sukkah sheyetzin. Two booths of a pot are one side of the other. The outer booth does not require mezuzah because it's not a permanent structure. Stores in a marketplace do not require mezuzah because they are not permanently used as a dwelling. Her dwelling, which has many doorways, requires a mezuzah for each and every doorway, even though one generally enters and leaves through only one of them. Mezuzah, a small entrance between the dwelling and the lot, requires a mezuzah. Chedesh v'bayis after the cheder v'shebecheder, cheder b'cheder chayav lasses mezuzah. Al shar chatzar pnimi, al shar chatzar chitzon, al shar abayis shekun asin deresakfuah. There's a separate room in a house, or even one room which leads to another. It's necessary to fix a mezuzah on the door of the innermost frame, the doorway to the outer room, doorway to the house, since all of them are used for the purpose of dwelling and are permanent structures. Pesach shebein beis hamed shebein beis haklasses beis and row lasses below beis pesach mezuzah. A person frequently enters and leaves through an entrance between shul and the house of study and his own house. The entrance requires a mezuzah. Pesach shebein patim velchem machar atzir shadalos. When there is an entrance between two houses, the position of the mezuzah is determined by the door hinge. Bagav shatzinin himay shal kenes mezuzah. The mezuzah is placed on the side on which the hinge can be seen. Mechin kevin a mezuzah. Where is the mezuzah fixed? Sichol shel pasach habesa pasach hapedach vach seven chutz betfilah shtish alin shel geva ashar, at the inside of the entrance with the handbreadth of the outer edge of the doorpost, at the beginning of the top third of the entrance. We call the manamizak shira. Was it fixed higher up? It's acceptable. As long as it's at least a handbreadth below the lintel. If to put on the right side, if you put on the left, it's puzzled by the often a house belonging to partners. The person has to show great care in the observance of the mitzvah because it's an obligation which is constantly incumbent upon everyone. Through its observance, whenever a person enters or leaves the house, he will encounter the unity of the name of Hashem and remember Him as love. He will wake from his sleep and his obsession with the vanities of time and recognize that there is the year. He's going to recognize that there's nothing which lasts unturning except for Hashem. And it will motivate him to regain full awareness and follow the path of the upright. Chazal say whoever wears its tefillin on his head and arm, wears tzitzis on his garment, and has a mezuzah in the entrance, can be assured that he will not sin. Because he has many who will remind because he has many who will reminding. These are the angels who will prevent him from saying. The angels of Hashem camps around those who fear him and protect them. Blessed be it who offers assistance. Tefillin Mezuzah and Sefer Torah, chapter 7. Mitzvah say, I'll call ish for ish. Yisrael lift the Sefer Torah la'atzmi. It's a positive commandment for each and every yid to write a Torah scroll for himself. Like it says, and now write down the song for yourself. Which means, write down the song for yourself. Write down the entire Torah which contains the song. In case in the Torah parshas, because we not read the Torah in sections. Even if his father gave us Sefer Torah, it's still mitzvah to write his own. A person who writes, it's like he accepted from Masini. If you don't know how to write, other people should write for you. Anyone who checks even a single letter of the Sefer Torah, or It's as if you looked entire scroll. Melech. Let's all look to Sarah. Echel Atzman Shema Melech Yosel Sefer Shilek Shehedit. So, the king is commanded to write another Torah scroll on himself for the sake of sovereignty, in addition to the scroll that he possessed while as a regular person. And like it says, because of like, and it says, when he sits on the royal throne, he shall write, the scroll should be checked against the scroll on the Pazar by the Supreme Court. When he possessed while he was a commoner, should be placed in his storage chamber. Because of and the one that they wrote while he's a king should be with him constantly. When he goes to worship, when he goes in to judgment, he should be with him. I should always be with him. Like it says, I shall be with him, and he shall read it all the days of his life. If when he became a king, he didn't have any Sefer Torah, they have to write to but when they put in the storage chamber, should be with him constantly except at night. Or when he enters the bathhouse, toilet, or when he sleeps. A Torah scroll which was written on unruled parchment, which was written with portions of glue and portions of cloth, is possible and must be written either entirely on glue or entirely on a cloth. In case of Sefer Torah, after the Sefer Torah be written, in case of Ksivim Tukenes Navi Yeser, I should write it with careful and attractive calligraphy. One should write it very carefully, leaving the space the size of a small letter between each word, and the handbreadth space between each letter, the space of the line should be left between each line. So the length of each line should be 30 letters, so that one can write the word Lim 3 times. This should be the width of each column. A line should not be shorter than this, lest the column appear like a note wider than this, so that one's eyes will not wander through its text. Why should I reduce the size of the letter in order to leave the proper amount of space between one passage and another? Should the Sefer have to write a word with 5 letters, and there not be sufficient space for them all, you should not write 2 within the column and 3 beyond the margins. Others should write 3 within the column and 2 beyond the margins. If there's no room on the line to write at least 3 letters, you should leave it at an empty space and continue at the beginning of the next line. As the Sefer have to write 2 letters of words after completing a line, you should not write it between the columns. Instead, you should write it at the beginning of the following line. If one had to write a word of 10 or more fewer letter in the middle of the line, a less space necessary remained in the column. If it's possible to write half of the word of the column with only half extending beyond the margins, you should. If it's not possible, you should leave an empty space and continue at the beginning of the next line. One should leave 4 empty lines between each of the books of the Torah, and either one or less, starting at the beginning. One should complete the entire Torah in the middle of the line at the bottom of the column. If many lines remain in the column, you should write the short lines beginning at the line or not completing it. So that the words anything you saw in the middle of the line at the bottom of the column. Be very careful in the big and small letters. And for example, be careful of the tagan and minyanim, the crowns. Some have 1, some have 7. All these crowns are shaped like Zaina, they should be as thin as hair. Number 4. This is all saying to say the most performing in the mitzvah. But she didn't consider she think that without all Kasav, at least she's couldn't take care of it, so she didn't. Or he can sadically. He's the high like to do and ice raise with the piss or laser. He said, so it's not a relation of some of the as a Sefer Kasher. If one row lines closer together, separate, and further lengthen them or further on the scroll is acceptable. Right, one letter does not touch the other. No letters are omitted except for word letters are not added. Even a single letter is not altered. The psukim still is not changed. There's some things that are not written in the Gemara, but it's tradition transfer from generation to generation. Be included this. If you write, let's say, Molei Chaser Chaser Molei, Shkasim Mila Shikri, Bekaster Kifias, again Shkasim Ishkoveno, came Shikoleno, or Tahudim Volkava, filling case van, Ishkas Parsha Kusar Stuma, Ishkas Shir Shak Sava, Ishkas Parsha, Achar Shiri, Ruti like a regular Sav, or like a Shidar is a possible, because Sefer Torah cloud, no Kudash Sefer Torah, Allah, it's like a Chomash, and Shkamnas, the Tenek is like a regular Chomash. The Sefer Torah should be that is not corrected should not be left unattended for more than 30 days. Rather, it should be corrected or put in Ganesh. The Sefer Torah should be shalish to east. The Sefer Torah that has 3 errors, each column should be corrected. If it has 4, it should be Ganesh. The majority of a Torah scroll have been checked and to be accurate, and there are 4 errors. Each column in the remainder of the scroll should be corrected, provided there is at least one column of the defective portion that has fewer than a few errors. When does this apply? When one wrote the short form of a word instead of a long form, and it will thus be forced to insert the extra letters between the lines. It should graded the main tail. It's like for a loose letter instead of inserting it. It's harder to write a scroll containing each of the 5 books of the law. Individually, these scrolls do not have the same of Sefer Torah. We're starting with a scroll that contains several passages. In case Megillah L'Tinnik should have the Bach, I want you to write a Sefer Torah to child to learn from it. If his mind is to mash the Chumash, he should. The cost Megillah Shalish Teres Vishtach is mutter. It's better to write a scroll on one verses with the verses from the Torah. One who writes 3 words in one space joined strongly. But the Daber it's permitted to include all the books of the Torah in a single scroll. And the 4 empty lines should be left between each book of the Torah. 12, see if you want to cut. Sie didn't come about a schöne Schrift, nicht kommen nach dem Jürmich, als gescheit der Yasser. Sie da zum Lust zu dem hier, wir müssen der schön der Kines, der ja Megillah b'Divrei. Could this in case I see Allah b'sit, you have to write it in a Sirtut, after so on a year. Even if you write it on a piece of paper, what the left the Shalosh Tevis will sit that you can write 3 words, that's it. Yes, says, also clear as a shift for Torah, and some English Sefer Torah. It's not, but it has like a Chumash from Dinah Yasser, Kedina Chaser. It's equivalent to having omitted ones.